When it comes to global military might, the United States is often viewed as an invincible force. With unparalleled resources, cutting-edge technology, and a history of decisive victories, America projects the image of a nation that never loses. But beneath this perception lies a complex reality, a series of conflicts where the outcomes were far from triumphant. In today's video, we'll explore wars where America didn't achieve its objectives, unraveling the lessons hidden in these chapters of history. The Vietnam War is perhaps the most well-known example of a U.S. military failure. The initial aim was clear: to contain communism in Southeast Asia under the domino theory. The United States supported South Vietnam against the Communist North, led by Ho Chi Minh and backed by the Soviet Union and China. However, the conduct of the war exposed significant challenges. Guerrilla tactics, harsh jungle terrain, and widespread opposition from the Vietnamese population bogged down U.S. forces. Despite heavy bombing campaigns and significant troop deployments, the North Vietnamese Army and the Viet Cong proved resilient. The war also sparked massive protests back in the United States, with citizens questioning the purpose and morality of the conflict. By 1973, America had withdrawn its forces, and in 1975, North Vietnam unified the country under communist control. Vietnam became a sobering reminder of the limits of military power and the importance of understanding local dynamics. The war left a lasting impact on American society and foreign policy, shaping future military engagements and diplomatic strategies. The Korean War began as an effort to halt North Korea's communist invasion of South Korea, which had taken the world by surprise. Backed by a United Nations coalition, led primarily by the United States, the war aimed to reunify the Korean peninsula under democratic governance, a goal that seemed increasingly difficult as the conflict progressed. The war saw intense battles, including the famous Incheon landing, which was a turning point, and bitter winters that tested the endurance of the troops. But as Chinese forces entered the conflict on behalf of North Korea, the fighting settled into a bloody stalemate near the 38th parallel, with neither side able to secure a decisive victory. In 1953, an armistice was signed, leaving the peninsula divided along the same lines as before the war. While South Korea was successfully defended, the broader goal of reunification under a democratic regime was never achieved, leaving a legacy of division. This conflict remains unresolved, with tensions persisting to this day, a stark reminder of the war's enduring impact on global politics. In 1961, the U.S. launched a covert operation to overthrow Fidel Castro's communist regime in Cuba. The CIA trained and equipped Cuban exiles to invade the Bay of Pigs. But the invasion was poorly planned and executed. Castro's forces swiftly crushed the offensive, embarrassing the U.S. on the global stage. Not only did the mission fail to topple Castro, but it also pushed Cuba closer to the Soviet Union, setting the stage for the Cuban Missile Crisis. This debacle highlighted the dangers of underestimating an adversary and the limits of covert action. The Iraq War began with a mission to eliminate weapons of mass destruction and remove Saddam Hussein from power. While Saddam's regime was toppled within weeks, weapons of mass destruction were never found. The post-invasion period descended into chaos. Sectarian violence, insurgencies, and the rise of ISIS turned Iraq into a geopolitical hotspot. Though Saddam was removed, the broader goals of stabilizing Iraq and spreading democracy in the region were not achieved. The war remains one of the most controversial chapters in U.S. history. After the September 11th attacks, the U.S. invaded Afghanistan to dismantle al-Qaeda and remove the Taliban from power. Initially, these objectives were met, but as the mission shifted towards nation-building, the conflict became protracted. Over 2 decades, the Taliban regrouped and regained strength. In 2021, following the U.S. withdrawal, the Taliban returned to power, effectively undoing much of the progress made. The war in Afghanistan serves as a stark reminder of the difficulty of imposing long-term solutions in complex environments. The U.S. intervention in Somalia aimed to address a humanitarian crisis and restore stability in a war-torn nation. However, the mission expanded into direct combat with warlords, leading to the infamous Black Hawk Down incident in 1993, where U.S. troops suffered heavy casualties. Facing mounting public and political pressure, the U.S. withdrew in 1994, leaving Somalia unstable. This mission underscored the dangers of mission creep and the challenges of operating in hostile environments. From Vietnam to Afghanistan, these conflicts reveal that even a superpower like the United States faces significant limitations. Victory in war isn't just about firepower, it's about strategy, understanding, and, most importantly, knowing when not to fight. The importance of diplomacy and building alliances cannot be overstated. What do you think America could learn from these conflicts? Let us know.